What is up, Pacer Nation? Welcome to the Pacer Pulse podcast, the heartbeat of Indiana basketball.
Welcome, welcome.
And I just wanted to let the listeners know if you are watching this on YouTube, you can also listen to this on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's super convenient if you're on the way to the gym or commuting to work or for the holidays. But I usually post the links in the comment section of each video that I post, and it's also in the description on YouTube. And vice versa. If you're listening to this, you can also listen and watch on YouTube as well. I give that option too. It's just that Pacers Pulse podcast. And I really appreciate you guys listening, but just wanted to let you guys know. And today's episode, I'm going to do episode 5 of the Player Stories series. And this one, I'm going to cover Aaron Nesmith. And definitely a fan favorite, one of my favorites on the team. But just a dog. That's like pretty much what you'll hear from anybody who watches this team and knows Aaron Nesmith at all. They know this guy plays with just tenacity that you don't really see very often in the NBA. Just that iconic game last year in the final, or not finals, but against the Knicks in the conference finals, where he had like 20 points in 5 minutes. Never been done in NBA history, but yet he does it. Spearheads one of the greatest comebacks, I would say, in playoff history, where Halliburton was able to hit the game winner just because of him carrying us to get to that point, to Halliburton to be able to do that. So, but last week I did the story on TJ McConnell. I do these every Monday. And the week before that, I did Siakam. And the week before that, I've done Nembhard. And then the first week I did of this series, I did over Benedict Mathurin. So if you want to just learn a little bit about these players, go check those past episodes out too. And I don't have all those posted on YouTube, but this is going to be the first one I start posting on YouTube. And just very interesting. I love getting like more backstory on these guys and really builds that connection even more. Kind of gives you that human element. That's what I love about it too. And I just love learning more of their backstories, where they've come from, what it's taken them to get to where they are today in the NBA, and especially with our team. So I'll start off with Aaron Nesmith's story here. So Aaron Nesmith, he was born on October 16th, 1999 in Charleston, South Carolina, into a household where discipline, faith, and effort mattered just as much as talent. His parents, Bernard and Ernie Nesmith, built the foundation long before the NBA ever became a realistic possibility for Aaron Nesmith. And I've actually been living in Charleston, South Carolina for the last couple of years, and it's just kind of cool to kind of have a guy that's locally, and especially on my favorite team, the Pacers, of course. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of helps paint for me personally a better picture of where he grew up, what he's been around, and what's kind of shaped him. I just always thought that was very interesting once I found out he was from Charleston, and I didn't know that till after I moved here. And then to go into like his family's, like his parents' backstory a little bit. Bernard, his dad, his path wasn't shaped by $1 million contracts. Back in 1979, he played a season of college football and even received a $40,000 offer from Kansas City Chiefs scout to join their practice squad. So literally a $40,000 offer doesn't seem like anything, but back in that day, maybe that was obviously a lot more money than what it is now, but just to be on the practice squad even. But instead of chasing that opportunity, he chose stability, turning it down to support his family. Bernard returned to Charleston and became a longshoresman at the local docks. And if you live around this area at all, or you know anything about Charleston, that is like one of the biggest job opportunities, is this because of all the water around here and the board, like the, what do you call it? Not borders, of course, but just like I said, the docks and all that. It's like a big industry around here. It's where a lot of the money is and has been for a while. And it makes a lot of sense. But like I'm about to get into here, it's very physically demanding work. So doing the physically demanding work day after day, that grind, that blue collar toughness became the blueprint for Aaron's work ethic. So imagine Aaron Nesmith just seeing his dad go to work every day, working hard, working with his hands, doing a job that most people probably don't want to do, but he did it for his family. So really painted that hard work and what it takes to really be successful, or just you do whatever it takes, essentially. And I think that's what it really pointed to in terms of his path. And you see that in Aaron's play like all the time. And that's what we all love about Aaron Nesmith. And then Aaron's mother, Ernie, led a quieter but equally powerful ways and equally powerful ways. She was a constant, up before sunrise, waking at 5:15 a.m. to prepare nutrient-rich breakfasts so her son was fueled properly. She even created a homemade photography backdrop so Aaron could take recruiting photos when resources were limited. Her focus on holistic well-being, discipline, and mental strength shaped Aaron just as much as any coach ever could. Their Christian faith anchored the family, reinforcing humility, gratitude, and perspective even as Aaron's name began gaining national attention. And I think that's a very interesting thing too. And if you're from the South at all, you know how big of a thing faith is around here and just that Christian lifestyle. And it permeates this area for sure. And there's so many people that follow along that line of thinking, even if you don't or not. But I think you can see that in the way he plays and the way that he carries himself. He definitely carries that aspect of himself throughout his life, as you can tell. And just having that holistic upbringing too, that his mom introduced and made sure that he was getting the proper meals. And I think that's something that people take for granted a lot too, because some families they're not really well aware of the nutrition side of our health and whatnot. And honestly, I don't blame them because for the majority of the population, for the longest time, that wasn't talked about. But it's very interesting to know that part because I mean, you almost need all these perfect factors and then just the hard work ethic that Nesmith has showed to make it to where he is today to really become the player that you want to be. And it's awesome that his mom was able to like contribute to that side of it in her own way. And then that mindset followed Nesmith to Porter Gaud. I don't know how you say that, Gaud, but it's Porter Gaud School, where he joined the varsity basketball team as an 8th grader. So very hard to do. And what a huge achievement in that in himself. And then he helped lead the program to 3 South Carolina Independent School Association Class 3A state championships. And by his senior season, he was averaging 21 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists per game, earning South Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year honors. So pretty huge honor. And then ESPN rated him as like a 4-star recruit, the 64th ranked prospect in the country and second best in the state. His breakout performance at an AAU tournament in Charlotte led to major offers. On September 19th, 2017, he committed to Vanderbilt. And at Vanderbilt, the opportunity came fast. During his freshman season in 2018-19, injuries opened the door, and Nesmith stepped up, averaging 11 points, 5.5 rebounds per game. He made his presence felt in the SEC play, scoring 26 points against Florida and dropping 24 points, 14 rebound double-double against Auburn, earning SEC Freshman of the Week honors. So he already showed that huge potential his freshman year. And this is when his rise really happened, was a sophomore season where he had like historic performances for Vanderbilt. But Nesmith, he opened the year, his sophomore year, with 25 points and 7 threes against Southeast Missouri State, followed by a career-high 34 points against Richmond. He matched that total against UNC Wilmington and knocked down a personal best 8 threes against SMU. So just that classic marksmanship that we've seen, at least with the Pacers so far in his career. I know he struggled to shoot early on in his Boston career, but I think also that just because he didn't have like the opportunity as much there. But as we all know, he is a lights out shooter from 3, a marksman, and makes a lot of sense when you go back into his college days and see what he was doing there. But through 14 games in his college sophomore season, he was averaging 23 points a game while shooting an incredible 52% from beyond the arc. And that's in 14 games. That's insane. One of the best marks in the country at that time. A foot injury ended his season in January 2020, but his elite shooting had already cemented him as a top NBA prospect. And the Boston Celtics selected Nesmith 14th overall in the 2020 NBA draft, signing him to a 4-year, $16.5 million deal. Playing behind stars like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, minutes were hard to come by, but Nesmith earned a reputation for a relentless effort, picking up the nickname Crash for his hustle. He was part of Boston's 2022 NBA Finals run, though his role was really limited during that time. And you could see why it was hard for him to get minutes there when you got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum in front of you. I mean, I'm not going to say that's obvious, but those guys, all pretty much all NBA players, it's going to be hard to crack the rotation. And even I know they probably regret it now because they definitely would take Nesmith in a heartbeat, I'm sure. But you could definitely see why he earned that nickname early on, Crash, because as we see every time we watch Nesmith play, the dude is just relentless out there. He plays with a tenacity that's unlike any, probably in the top 5% in terms of that regard. And that's what we really built this Pacer identity on almost. And with him and TJ McConnell and just the way a lot of these guys play on our team and what we saw in the playoffs last year during our finals run makes a lot of sense. And everything changed in July of 2022 when he was traded to the Indiana Pacers in the Malcolm Brogdon deal, which is kind of crazy to think about because he was kind of just a throw-in in that deal, and ends up being. I mean, I know Brogdon had a good first year with us, but really kind of tailed off there. And as we remember those times, Pacer Nation wasn't a fun time to be a Pacer fan. Literally, the entire team was hurt all the time. But the silver lining was we had Nesmith, and a move that some national outlets mocked. They mocked that trade, thinking that we got robbed in that trade, including a Bleacher Report tweet comparing Nesmith to a paperclip. That moment only added fuel. Imagine Nesmith obviously taking that motivation, literally saying they compared him to a paperclip. I mean, it just goes to show how much extra motivation and as hard as much of a hard worker Nesmith is already. I'm sure he took that and carried it and just had it on his back, threw that had a chip on his shoulder from that moment on because that's a pretty big insult. And the fact that he ended up being the best player from that trade, essentially too, which is pretty hilarious as well. Better than even Brogdon, and then helping us make the NBA Finals in our starting lineup. I mean, it's a beautiful story to hear, and you kind of forget about these things. And I actually remembered that after seeing that, I was like, a paperclip? I mean, I didn't have high expectations for Nesmith either, but I also knew he was a young player. He was a lottery pick, and he had untapped potential, as we obviously have seen. And he's gotten literally better every single season with us. And wouldn't trade Nesmith for the world. I'm glad we re-signed him on that extension too before this season. And I hope he stays with us for a very long time because he still has some untapped potential, I think. But under Rick Carlisle in Indiana, Nesmith flourished. In the 2022-23 season, he averaged 10 points per game while shooting 42.7% from three. The following year, he elevated again, averaging 12.2 points per game, 4 rebounds, and shooting 43% from deep while joining the exclusive 50-40-90 club. Not many players do that. I know he was injured for a lot of that year, so there might be an asterisk to that. But even if he played only 50-something games to shoot that well from the field and from the free throw line, from the three-point line for an entire season is incredible. So in the 2024 playoffs, he delivered one of the most efficient performances in Pacers history, going a perfect 8 for 8 for 19 points in Game 7 against the Knicks. And that's the game I was talking about earlier where if he doesn't go off for that, we don't win this game. But then came his defining moment. No, excuse me. This was in Game 1. So that was in 2024. I'm getting it mixed up now. But then came his defining moment in Game 1 of the 2025 Eastern Conference Finals against New York, where Nesmith exploded for 30 points, drilling 8 three-pointers, 6 of them in the fourth quarter, tying an NBA playoff record alongside Stephen Curry, a short list of legends. So imagine that. I mean, I know they make a record for everything nowadays, but imagine that. You're going to see Aaron Nesmith's name next to Stephen Curry for probably what was one of the most iconic comeback games in NBA history. Not trying to be a homer here, but I think if anybody would go back and watch that game and see that magical run that Nesmith went on, especially in that fourth quarter, I mean, just unreal. Unreal. And then the Halliburton game-winning shot to just kind of put the icing on the cake. I mean, I will never forget that moment in Pacers history. I will never forget. I mean, that's cemented in the top 3 of all time, in my opinion. And Nesmith, just killer, just would not miss. He was just on such a heater, and he was hitting threes that were just almost unbelievable. You just almost couldn't believe what you were watching in that game. And if you somehow didn't see that game, Pacer Nation, go back and watch the highlights. Watch what Nesmith did during that game, because my goodness, was it just special. And so so in Indiana, locked him in on October 24, 2023, signing Nesmith to a 3-year, $33 million extension, one of the league's best value contracts for a true two-way wing. And as you guys know, we even signed him to another extension, locking him up for even longer, which will be closer to like the 20 million per year mark once that kicks in, which honestly is still an amazing deal for what you get out of Nesmith. I mean, still borderline not even full starter money in today's NBA. And the fact that we got him even on a cheaper deal, but I'm glad we at least rewarded him too, because he deserves it. He has earned every penny of that, and I'm glad we rewarded him in that way. But from Charleston's docks to the brightest playoff stages, Aaron Nesmith's rise is built on grit, faith, and relentless effort. His shooting, defense, clutch performances have made him a cornerstone of the Pacers and a fan favorite. His journey is proof that hard work, when paired with opportunity, always finds the spotlight. And does that not just epitomize what Nesmith is as a player, probably as a teammate? You can see where he's definitely been missed so far right now. We've missed his tenacity because, like I said, he brings that TJ McConnell-esque type of energy. And I think our lineup desperately needs that right now. And I can't wait till he's back. I hope we're patient at least, so he's not rushed to come back and maybe potentially get another injury. We'd never want that to happen. So I know he's going to come back better than ever. And I know he was struggling early on this season before he got hurt, but we know what Nesmith can do. We know that he can bounce back. And it's just cool to see his story and see where he's came from, and just to see his hard work and determination, that you can bank on this guy and that he's going to always work hard every single second he's out there in the game. Even if it's not producing the best results, but you're always going to get that effort from out of him. Just kind of like in like a McConnell instance. He's always going to have that heart and hustle, and he wears it on his sleeve every game. And he just had so many iconic plays in the playoffs last year. I remember that tip-in dunk he had. I think it was against the Cavaliers, even off a free throw, was like sensational, like a clutch play. Like, we wouldn't have been in that game or even won that game if it wasn't for him doing that. It's just, man, I almost got to go back and watch all these things now. Go back and watch it all because it was just so phenomenal. But that's the Aaron Nesmith story, guys. And obviously, it's just beginning because we're going to have him on the team for years to come. I would be shocked if we do ever trade this guy because I think he embodies what this Pacer organization is all about now. And he's a foundational piece, I think, too. And the more I look into it, I'm like, man, yeah, he'll have a tradable contract, but I don't see who you trade him for. That's going to make a lot of sense. And he's just a good fit with our team and our culture and what we want out of our Pacer players. And we've worked hard on that to change the culture around our team ever since the Malice at the Palace. And we've kind of been in search of an identity ever since the Paul George teams. We were a hard-nosed team then, and we were kind of just scrambling ever since then. But yet we've kind of found it with Tyrese and this squad that we have now, and I hope we can keep them all together, bring back Matherin too, and I don't know, just go on another special run. And I'm excited for Nesmith to come back off his injury, see what he can do for the rest of the year, and even if it's in a lost season, I don't care. I still want to see him out there playing and playing that Nesmith style of ball that we're all accustomed to seeing Pacer Nation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I always like doing these little quick hitters too because it's just fun to kind of hear a quick episode on some of these players' backstories. And I really love what I've seen from Nesmith so far since he's been a Pacer, and definitely a beloved Pacer, and he's going to be on the team for a long time, guys. So I just thought it'd be interesting to hear his story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too and had some good takeaways from it and kind of see why he plays the way he plays and where he's come from and why we can always guarantee that Nesmith's going to leave his heart on his sleeve out there, play to the full extent of his capabilities, and really just give it his all every single night. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, Pacer Nation, and I will talk to you soon.